The battle had already been lost before Marcus even arrived at the ridge. Smoke climbed from the valley below, where the colonial settlement of New Terra burned, orange flames licking at prefabricated structures that had taken 3 years to build. The Krell swarm moved through the ruins like a living tide, their chitinous bodies gleaming under the twin suns. Marcus counted at least 200 of them, maybe more. His squad had been 12 strong when they deployed that morning. Now he was alone. The communicator on his wrist crackled with static. Command had gone silent an hour ago. The orbital defense platforms were debris, now shattered by Krell bioships that had torn through them like tissue paper. No reinforcements were coming. No evacuation shuttles would descend from the smoke-choked sky. The colony was gone, and everyone knew it. Everyone except Marcus, apparently. He checked his rifle. 43 rounds remaining. His sidearm held another 15. 4 grenades hung from his belt. Against 200 Krell warriors, it was laughably insufficient. The smart play would be to find somewhere to hide, to wait out the slaughter, and hope the Krell moved on. Plenty of caves in these hills. He could survive for weeks if he rationed his supplies. But down in that valley, the medical center still stood. And according to his last contact with Corporal Hayes, before the communication network collapsed, 17 civilians had barricaded themselves inside. Mostly children and the elderly, who couldn't evacuate in time. They were alive, trapped, and waiting for death to find them. Marcus started down the ridge. The Krell noticed him almost immediately. 3 warriors detached from the main swarm, their multiple legs carrying them across the broken ground with horrible speed. Marcus dropped to one knee and fired controlled bursts. The first Krell took rounds to its thorax and stumbled, green ichor spraying from the wounds. The second leaped, and Marcus rolled aside, feeling claws whistle past his helmet. He came up firing, stitching a line across its underbelly. The third was nearly on him when he yanked a grenade from his belt and shoved it into the creature's open mandibles. He threw himself backward as the explosion turned the Krell into smoking fragments. 2 more approached from his left. Marcus ran, using the rubble of collapsed buildings as cover. He could hear more Krell converging on his position, drawn by the sounds of combat. Good. Every warrior chasing him was one, less attacking the medical center. He made it 3 blocks before they surrounded him. Marcus climbed onto the roof of a collapsed warehouse, buying himself the high ground. The Krell came at him from every direction, scrambling up walls and leaping between structures. He fired until his rifle clicked empty, then drew his sidearm. Each shot had to count now. Each bullet bought another few seconds. A Krell claw caught his shoulder, tearing through armor and flesh. Marcus screamed and jammed his combat knife into the creature's eye cluster. It shrieked and fell away. Another took its place. And another. His sidearm clicked empty. He fought with the knife, with his fists, with his helmet when a warrior got too close. Blood ran down his arm, his leg, his side. Krell blood mixed with his own. Through the chaos, Marcus saw it. The medical center, just 2 blocks away. The doors were still sealed. The building intact. Those people were still alive. He couldn't reach them. He knew that now. But he could keep fighting, could keep the Krell focused on him instead of searching for easier prey. A few more minutes might make the difference. Might give those civilians a chance, however slim. A Krell warrior, larger than the others, emerged from the swarm. A leader of some kind, its carapace covered in scars and battle markers. It regarded Marcus with compound eyes that gleamed with something that might have been respect or curiosity or hunger. Then it raised a claw for the killing blow. The sky split open. Marcus thought at first that a weapon had misfired, that the Krell had accidentally targeted their own forces. But the beam of coherent energy that slammed into the ground wasn't Krell technology. It was something else entirely. something that made the Krell shriek and scatter, abandoning their prey to flee from this new threat. A ship descended through the smoke. Not human. Not Krell. Its hull was silver and curved in ways that seemed to defy geometry, covered in markings that hurt to look at directly. It was beautiful and terrible, and Marcus felt his legs give out as shock and blood loss finally claimed him. He woke in light. Clean, white, sterile. Medical equipment surrounded him, though none of it matched human designs. The wounds on his body had been sealed, treated with something that left his skin tingling. His armor was gone, replaced with simple gray clothing. A figure stood at the foot of his bed. She was humanoid, barely, with features that suggested something ancient and refined. Her skin held an opalescent quality, shifting through subtle colors as she moved. She wore robes of deep crimson, and on her head sat a crown of crystalline material that seemed to float without touching her. Marcus tried to sit up. The figure raised a hand, and he felt his body gently pressed back against the bed by some invisible force. "You fought alone," she said. Her voice came from everywhere and nowhere, translated directly into his mind in his own language. "Your kind does this often." "My kind?" Marcus managed. His throat was dry. "Humans." The way she said it carried no contempt, but something like wonder. "We have observed your species for some time. You interest us. You are weak individually, fragile. Your technology is primitive. Your lifespans are brief. By all measures, you should have been consumed by the Krell swarm decades ago when they first reached your space." She moved closer, and Marcus could see now that her eyes were entirely black, like looking into deep space. "Yet you endure," she continued. "You fight, not just when victory is possible, but when it is impossible. You stand alone against overwhelming odds, not because you believe you will win, but because you believe someone must stand." She tilted her head. "This is incomprehensible to most species. The Krell fight for survival and dominance. My people fight for territory and resources. But humans fight for ideas, for others, for principles that cannot be measured or quantified." Marcus found his voice. "The people in the medical center, did they survived. My forces extracted them after securing the area. The Krell have been driven from this world." She paused. "Because of you. You drew their attention, disrupted their assault pattern, bought enough time for intervention to matter." Relief flooded through Marcus, so intensely it brought tears to his eyes. 17 people. 17 lives that would continue because he had chosen to fight rather than hide. The figure studied him for a long moment. "I am Empress Valeria of the Ascendant Domain. My empire spans 2,000 star systems. We are old beyond your comprehension, powerful beyond your measurement. We do not involve ourselves in the affairs of younger species as a rule." She leaned forward, and Marcus felt the weight of those ancient eyes. "But I watched you fight today. I watched you bleed and struggle and refuse to yield, even as death claimed your companions and surrounded you on all sides. I have commanded armies for 3,000 of your years, and I have never witnessed such determination in a single warrior." Valeria straightened, and her voice took on a tone of absolute authority. "The Ascendant Domain will not allow humanity to fall to the Krell swarm. This I decree. Your species will be brought under our protection, not as subjects or servants, but as something we have not recognized in 10 millennia. She paused. "As equals in potential, if not yet in power. Because any species that can produce individuals like you deserves the chance to reach the stars in full." Marcus struggled to process her words. Protection from one of the galaxy's elder races was beyond anything humanity had hoped for. "Why?" he asked. "Why go so far for one soldier's last stand?" Valeria smiled, and it was both sad and knowing. Because, Marcus of Earth, in all my long existence, I have learned one truth. The measure of a civilization is not found in its greatest victories or mightiest weapons. It is found in the moment when a single individual must choose between survival and sacrifice. You chose sacrifice. You chose to fight alone so that others might live. That choice echoes across species and time, and it marks your kind as worthy of preservation. She turned toward the door, then paused. Your medical center survivors are asking for you. They wish to thank the soldier who saved them. I suggest you rest first, however. Even with our medical technology, you will need time to heal. As Valeria departed, Marcus lay back against the bed. Through the window beside him, he could see ships in orbit. Not human vessels, but the graceful, impossible craft of the ascendant domain. An armada beyond counting, come to stand between humanity and extinction, all because one man had refused to let 17 people die alone.